I just scored this amazing job that's going to pay me $20,000 or more per year, and it's going to help me slash away the remaining $65,000 of my debt. And I'm going to share with you how it's going to impact my finances. Hi, I'm SHANA of the Wealth Vibe, and I create videos to help you eliminate debt, grow your income, and build wealth. And I'm super excited that I've already grown my income, and now I'm going to share with you how the extra $20,000 that I'm going to earn and my new job is going to financially impact my ability to eliminate debt and build my wealth. And I'm going to get straight into that as soon as you hit that like button. I recently shared with you that I got a new position as an epidemiologist with the CDC Foundation, and I'll be working on a CDC funded project related to maternal mortality surveillance. And I talked all about it in the video that I'll have linked up in the cards if you're interested in learning more. But since I've gotten this new job, I've been thinking about how it's going to financially impact me. And I've thought about all the different ways it's going to impact the way I budget, the way I save, the way I invest, and how I pay off debt. If you've been around the channel for a while, you'll know that I do monthly budget videos. And with this new job, I'll be paid on a bi-weekly basis. In my previous position, I was paid on a monthly basis, so I got a paycheck on the last business day of every single month. And then I was able to pay all my bills and fund all my sinking funds and everything within the first 3 days of the month. But now that I'll be paid on a bi-weekly basis, I'm not going to be able to do all of that because I won't have all the money that I need to be able to pay all my bills and fund all my sinking funds at the beginning of the month, simply because my paychecks will be split up into two. So I'm going to have to redo the way I budget. So I'm still going to create a monthly budget just to see where all the money is going, but I'm also going to have to do like a paycheck by paycheck budget as well, so I can see when the money's hitting my account and when money needs to leave my account as well. So I actually took a first stab at this today, and I can say that it's very difficult. It's much more complicated than my previous method of budgeting because everything was really simple. But now I'm having to, change payment dates or how I am, having my transfers leave my bank accounts because it's just not going to work that way. Because otherwise I will end up overdrafting my account, and that is not going to work for me. Because I do not want to pay the banks any extra money, especially since I'm on this debt payment journey. And I actually had a video that talked about, not paying overdraft fees or any type of fees to banks. And if you're interested in checking that out, I'll also have it linked up in the cards. But I know that this will actually be a benefit for the channel because it'll be another video that I'll end up doing, and I'll work through all the, the issues that come with trying to do a paycheck by paycheck budget. Comment down below and let me know how you prefer to get paid, on a bi-weekly or bi-monthly basis or on a monthly basis. And I will say, as I took that first stab of doing the paycheck to paycheck budget, I realized that I really don't like to get paid on a bi-weekly basis because emotionally it really hit me that I am living paycheck to paycheck. And it made me sad because I never really thought of myself as living paycheck to paycheck prior to this. And the crazy thing is that a few months ago, my boyfriend and I were having a conversation, and he made a comment and he said that he thought that I live paycheck to paycheck, and I disagreed with him. But when I was actually doing that paycheck to paycheck budget, that's when it really hit me that I actually do live paycheck to paycheck. And while I was doing that type of budgeting method, it was just mentally taxing. Like, I had to crunch the numbers several times to make sure that everything was working out. And it was just a lot easier on me when I was getting paid monthly and doing all of my bills and transactions on a monthly basis. Another thing that's going to change as a result of my new income are some of my budget categories and the way I fund those budget categories. As you may know, I was a postdoctoral fellow at the Centers for Disease Control, and I was paid on a monthly basis through a stipend. And the federal government, they view stipends as income, but not as wages. And so wages means that you are being paid as a transaction for the work that you do. So because I was a fellow, they didn't view me as being an employee, and therefore it doesn't fall under wages category. And so as a result, I had to withhold my own taxes for federal and state governments. And that's going to change because now I am a full-fledged employee and my company is going to withhold taxes on my behalf. And so I'm not going to have to save for taxes anymore for my primary sources of income. But you know that I do Grubhub, Instacart, and Upwork from time to time, and those are self-employed ways of making money, and so I am going to have to withhold taxes from the income that I get from that, but I'm not going to have to withhold nearly as much money on a monthly basis. Another thing that's going to change in terms of my budgeting categories is the amount of money that I'm going to spend on gas. So I still live relatively close to the new campus that I'm going to work on. So before I was working on one CDC campus, and now I'm working on another CDC campus. And fun fact, there are actually 5 different CDC campuses. So the CDC campus that I'll be working on now is about 15 minutes away from work. And that is more gas. Another thing that's going to change is the amount of money that I save for medical expenses in my digital envelopes that I have with Simple Bank. So with my previous position, I had medical insurance or health insurance, but I did not have vision or dental insurance. And so I was saving a little bit of money to be able to cover like co-pays, or if I needed to go get, things related to dental care or vision care, I was saving that money. But now I have all those insurances. I have dental, vision, health insurance, and I also have an HSA. So I'm going to start putting the money that I was saving in my digital envelopes for medical expenses, I'm going to put them into the HSA instead, because that's a tax advantage account. And so basically when you put money into an HSA, you don't have to pay taxes on it, and you can put a good amount of money in it every year, and the amount of money that you have in there, if you don't spend it all, it rolls over from year to year as tax-free money. So instead of putting $50 a month into my digital envelopes with Simple, I'm instead of going to put it into an HSA instead. So those are the ways that I'm thinking some of my budget categories are going to change, and the way that I'm funding them are going to change. With this new job, I have a few tax advantage accounts. So I already mentioned the HSA that I have, but I also will have a retirement investment account that is going to be called a 403B. So I work for a nonprofit organization that supports the CDC, and as a result, they have 403B plans, and they're very similar to 401k plans that corporations tend to have. So I have never had a retirement investment account that was employer sponsored before, because I never had a job that even offered that benefit. And so I'm really excited about the 403B plan that I have, because I just turned 32 and I really lost a lot of years that I could have been, using to invest money. And as you probably have heard, like your 20s are like the best time to like put money into your 401ks and 403Bs. But I didn't have that option. But now I finally have the option, so I'm super excited about that. So I'm going to be taking advantage of it like ASAP. My company policy is that they will give me 10% towards my 403B plan if I contribute 2% of my income into the 403B plan. So I'm going to take advantage of that ASAP. However, that doesn't start until 90 days after my first day of working. So for now, I'm still going to contribute 2% of my income to the 403B plan, but I won't be getting the 10% contribution until 90 days hits. So I'm really excited about this new investment opportunity that I have, and that's going to really impact my ability to build wealth, and I'm super excited about it. Another way that my finances will be impacted is through work travel. And so let me tell you this funny story about my job interview. So when I went on the job interview, it was actually a group interview, and there were 5 people there. My CDC Foundation supervisor and her assistant were there, and then 3 of the field employees that I currently work with were also there. And so one of the field employees, my now coworker, she asked a question about whether I'm okay with going on site visits and traveling for work. And so I told her I have no problem traveling, because I actually love traveling, even if it is for work-related travel. I have no problem with it. And so my CDC Foundation supervisor, she interjected and then said, oh, well, she won't have to travel for this position. You all travel a lot, but she won't have to travel because she'll be working on analyses, and that doesn't require her to travel. So the crazy thing is, I have now been working in this position for 2 weeks and 1 day, and I have already booked 2 work-related travel. And so I'll be going to Tennessee and North Carolina within the first month of me working. So I find it pretty interesting that my supervisor during my interview was like, oh no, you won't be traveling, but I'm already going on 2 different trips that she has actually approved for me to go on. And so they even have a list of other sites that they would like me to travel to. So we work with 14 different sites, and the idea is that I'll go on as many as possible, and they tend to go on 2 trips per month. I'll have to cover hotel, ground transportation, and all of my meals whenever I travel, but then my company will reimburse me for all of those travel expenses that I incurred. So what I'm gonna do as a result is I'm gonna put all my work travel related expenses on a credit card, and then wait for them to reimburse me, and then use the reimbursement to pay off my credit card in full. And I kind of see this as a positive, because I'll be able to get cash back and points and stuff that I can use towards my own personal travel. And so I see that as a positive. And I know that Dave Ramsey is totally against this idea, and he suggests that employees ask their employer to furnish them with a travel debit card instead, so that way they don't have to worry about, taking on any credit charges on their own. Or he suggests that you have a travel sinking fund or emergency fund that you pull on to be able to, cover all the travel work related expenses that you have. And I don't mind the idea of coming up with a travel sinking fund, emergency fund type situation, because I think that will help out if your company is ever late with reimbursements, or if you're ever running into an issue where they might not pay by the statement due date or whatever it may be. And so that might help, but I just don't know how it's going to really work out for me, given that I have, a very tight budget that I'm trying to use every single dollar towards paying off my debt. So I don't know if I can break away and try to save a travel emergency fund, but I really don't mind the idea, and it might be something that I try to think through and try to do in the future. But as of right now, I'll be using my credit card to cover all of my work related expenses, and I expect to be fully reimbursed for all of those charges. And it should be a win-win in my idea, in my book. So we'll see how that works out, but that's one thing that's going to impact my finances for sure. A few people have asked me if I'm going to stop some of my side hustles like Grubhub and Instacart now that I'll be earning a $90,000 salary. And I will say that it is very enticing. And actually, 2 of my financial goals when I set them back in January of 2019 were to earn a 6-figure salary that would then allow me to stop doing side hustles by June 2019. And so I will say that it's very, very enticing to be able to stop doing side hustling, because that'll free up a lot of my time. It'll allow me to do more YouTube videos and commit more to that. But when I thought about it, it really makes no sense in terms of my ultimate goal of being able to pay off all of my debt and become debt free. And so I'm going to continue to do side hustling, because I figure every dollar that I earn, and hopefully I can earn about $1,000 at a minimum every single month through one of those side hustles, that will allow me to get out of debt much faster. And if I stop doing them, then I wouldn't be able to get out of debt as quickly as I wanted to. You also might be wondering, how would my new $90,000 salary impact my debt payoff goal. So I had a debt payoff goal of February 2021 as just my regular debt payoff goal. And then I had a stretch debt payoff goal of December 2019. So that's this December. And so with the new $90,000 salary, although I'll be making $20,000 more, my February 2021 debt payoff goal actually will not change. And the reason why that won't change is because I had already factored in me making a 6-figure income. I can be very ambitious at times, and so I will start to crunch out the numbers and be like, if I made $200,000, how much faster can I get out of debt? If I made $1 million, how much faster can I get out of debt? So I actually already did the numbers based off of making a $100,000 salary. And so I actually won't be out of debt any faster than I already plan to be out of debt at this point. At some point, I know that my debt payoff goal will move closer than 2021, and I will get out of debt faster with the new sources of income that I plan to bring in. But I'm really happy to know that I'm actually still on track, because if I didn't get a new job, I wouldn't have been on track. But I'm happy to know that I'm still on track with my February 2021 debt payoff goal. I made a lot of headway with my financial journey, and I'm super excited to see where I'm going from here. And if you're interested in learning more about my financial journey, check out one of these videos here, and make sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so already, because it really helps out the channel and it lets me know that you enjoy the video. And I hope that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so I can see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.